Hi friends, good morning. Welcome to Shankaran IA Study Circle. This is Dr. Harinath Reddy, Director of the Institute. Today in this particular video, we will try to discuss about the recommendations of M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission with respect to improving the performance of the parliament and state legislatures. As the students are aware, India has almost completed 7 decades of independence. In the last 7 decades, parliamentary institutions in India, they have withstood the test of the time, but in the recent past, there is a decline of parliamentary institutions because the quantity of the work has come down, the quality of the debates has come down, there were more frequent defections, there were more frequent disruptions, and there is increasing criminalization of politics. And because of all these reasons, there was growing cynicism towards parliamentary democracy and towards parliamentary institutions in India. So in this background, what can be done to reinforce the confidence of the citizens of this country on parliamentary democracy and to arrest the decline of parliamentary institutions in India? So Government of India has appointed a committee in 2000 under the chairmanship of M.N. Venkatachalaya to review the working of the Indian Constitution after completion of 50 years of implementation of the Constitution. All of you know that the Constitution of India came into force on 26th January 1950. The Constitution of India came into force on 26th January 1950. By 2000, we have completed 50 years of implementation of the Constitution. So, in the last 50 years, what is the status of implementation of the Constitution of India? What are the achievements? What are the failures? So, to look into all these issues, a committee was appointed by the Union Government in 2000, headed by M.N. Venkatachalaya, headed by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. So, this was a 11-member commission. This was an 11-member commission, which gave the report finally in 2002. Finally in 2002. So, the commission was appointed in 2000, it gave the report in 2002, and it was a 11-member commission. So, this commission is also known by the name National Commission to Review the Working of the Indian Constitution. National Commission to Review the Working of the Indian Constitution. This was appointed in 2000, gave the report in 2002. So, some of the major recommendations for arresting the decline of the parliamentary institutions in India include: the first one, the committee has recommended defining or codifying parliamentary privileges in India. This is the foremost important recommendation. See, parliamentary privileges are special rights or immunities enjoyed by the parliament or the state legislatures, the houses, the committees, and the individual members. So, these parliamentary privileges were necessary. It was argued that the parliamentary privileges were necessary to protect the autonomy, independence, and dignity of the parliamentary institutions in India. But in India, Parliament has not codified the parliamentary privileges. So, what is the biggest drawback of non-codification? Codification is nothing but clearly defining what are privileges by enacting a law. This is not done with the intention that the members of the parliament, they feel that if parliamentary privileges are codified, if they are legislated upon, then they will be subjected to fundamental rights. They will be subjected to fundamental rights. So, that will undermine the authority, independence, and dignity of the parliamentary institutions. So, this is the belief, but unfortunately, this belief is not right, because If you take America, in the American Parliament, the lower house is called House of Representatives. House of Representatives. House of Representatives. So this is functioning for the last more than 200 years without any privileges being conferred on it. So in America, the lower house, which is House of Representatives, was able to function properly without privileges. Even in Britain, increasingly the House of Commons was not using the parliamentary privileges to undermine the rights of the people. Even in countries like Australia, parliamentary privileges were codified. So, if parliamentary privileges are clearly defined by codifying, by enacting a law, then what are the limits to the freedom of press, and to what extent the freedom of speech and expression can be exercised will be better known to the people who are in the public domain, especially in the print and electronic media. So when the parliamentary privileges are not clearly defined, so there are chances that the print and electronic media may encroach and undermine the parliamentary privileges for which they may be punished. So that's why MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended parliamentary privileges shall be clearly defined by enacting a law. So this will help in balancing the fundamental rights of the citizens on one hand and also the fundamental rights of the members of the parliament on the other hand. This is one important recommendation. In addition to this, in P.V. Narasimha Rao versus the state. This is one case which is related to parliamentary privileges. In this case, the case related to the members of the parliament taking bribes to vote in favor of the government of P.V. Narasimha Rao. Unfortunately, in this case, the Supreme Court held that the corrupt behavior of the members of the parliament when they exercise their right to vote in favor of a particular government is constitutionally protected under parliamentary privileges. This is the judgment given. And this is fundamentally against the rule of law. It is against the principles of accountability, which is part of democracy, because how can the corrupt behavior on the part of the parliamentarians can be justified, can be protected under the parliamentary privileges which are given to the members of the parliament not for their personal interest but to serve the larger public interest. So this also needs to be changed. That's why MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended the corrupt behavior on the part of the members of the parliament shall not be protected under parliamentary privileges. That's one important recommendation made. In addition to this, to deal with the corruption charges against the members of the parliament, against the members of the state legislature, MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended there shall be an ombudsman, parliamentary ombudsman. Parliamentary ombudsman. Parliamentary ombudsman means an anti-corruption agency against the members of the parliament. This is one more important recommendation made by MN Venkatachalaya Commission. So MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended the establishment of a parliamentary ombudsman to deal with the corruption charges of the members of the parliament at the national level, and a similar institution can be set up at the state level. In addition to this, another most important recommendation is with respect to the domicile requirement to contest elections to Rajya Sabha. Domicile requirement. Domicile requirement. What is this requirement? For example, earlier, not now, earlier, if I want to contest to Rajya Sabha from the state of Andhra Pradesh, I should have domicile, permanent residence in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So this requirement is done away with by amending the Representation of the People's Act, and this was challenged before the Supreme Court, in one of the cases called Kuldeep Nair versus Union of India. So the earlier requirement of domicile was done away with by amending the Representation of the People's Act. This amendment was challenged before the Supreme Court in a case known as Kuldeep Nair versus Union of India. Kuldeep Nair was a famous journalist. So here he has filed the petition before the Supreme Court. In this case, the Supreme Court upheld doing away with the domicile requirement for the election to Rajya Sabha, which means if I want to get elected to Rajya Sabha, say from the state of Karnataka, I don't need to be a resident in the state of Karnataka. So this requirement is done away with. But M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended that the domicile requirement to get elected to Rajya Sabha must be protected, must be continued, otherwise it will be against the federal provisions of the Indian Constitution. Otherwise it will amount to undermining the spirit of federalism. Despite this recommendation in 2002, already the present position is the domicile requirement is not necessary now. And this was upheld in the case Kuldeep Nair versus Union of India. Then the next important one, MP Lads. Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. This was initiated when P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. Under MP Lad scheme, each member of parliament will be given certain amount to be spent in their constituency, sometimes even outside the constituency for developmental works. So earlier it was around 25 crores for 5 years. So M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission said this MP Lads scheme is against several provisions of the Indian Constitution. It will undermine the federal features of the Indian Constitution. It also undermines the authority of the local governments. So MP Lads shall be discontinued is one more important recommendation. It is not only M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission, even the second Administrative Reforms Commission in its 6th report on local governance has recommended to discontinue the schemes like MP Lads and MLA Lads, to discontinue the schemes like MP Lads and MLA Lads. Then in addition to this, M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended 3 new standing committees. It has recommended 3 new standing committees relating to 1. National economy, standing committee on national economy. Then legislation, standing committee on legislation. And the third one, standing committee on constitutional amendment bills. Standing committee on constitutional amendments. So these were 3 new parliamentary committees recommended by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. Standing committee on national economy, standing committee on legislation, standing committee on constitutional amendment bills. If you take the standing committee with respect to constitutional amendment bills, this is to scrutinize the constitutional amendment bills before they are introduced in the parliament. Similarly, standing committee on legislation is again to consider the proposals for legislation before they are introduced in the parliament. Same is the case with the standing committee on national economy. So M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission said, if these 3 standing committees are set up, then it is not necessary to continue estimates committee as well as committee on public undertakings. So M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended establishment of 3 parliamentary standing committees, 1 on national economy, 1 on legislation, 1 on constitutional amendments. In case these parliamentary standing committees are established, it is not necessary to continue the committee on estimates and also the committee on public undertakings. In other words, MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended abolishing the Estimates Committee and the Committee on Public Undertakings. But if you take more pragmatic view, in 1989, department related parliamentary standing committees were set up. Three department related parliamentary standing committees were set up. When they were set up, the first three committees were on agriculture, science and technology, and environment and forest. Then subsequently in 1993, they were increased to 17, from 3 to 17. In 2004, 7 more committees were set up. Now total we have 24 department related parliamentary standing committees. So in the background of having department related parliamentary standing committees, it is not necessary to establish a standing committee on national economy, a standing committee on legislation, a standing committee on constitutional amendments, because each of the department related parliamentary standing committees, it looks into the proposals for legislation, it looks into the constitutional amendment bills, and also it looks into demands for grants. So the purpose which the standing committee on national economy, legislation and constitutional amendments do is already being done by department related parliamentary standing committees. So there is no point in establishing the committees recommended by MN Venkatachalaya Commission. The standing committee on national economy, standing committee on legislation, standing committee on constitutional amendments, because any constitutional amendment bill which is introduced in the parliament will be referred to the department related parliamentary standing committee. It will look into the features of the bill, and wherever it is necessary, it will come up with recommendations for further improving the constitutional amendment bill. Similarly, an ordinary bill which is introduced in the parliament can be referred to a department related parliamentary standing committee, and the bill will be thoroughly verified by the department related parliamentary standing committee. If there are any gaps in the bill, suitable recommendations will be made by the department related parliamentary standing committee for improving the bill. Same is the case with the demand for grants. All the demands for grants will be subjected to consideration by the department related parliamentary standing committees. So in the background, in the context of having department related parliamentary standing committees, there is no need for implementing the recommendations of MN Venkatachalaya Commission relating to the establishment of 3 parliamentary standing committees. Anyhow, this recommendation is not implemented. Then when it comes to the functioning of the parliament, see, there was decline in the role of the Indian parliament in the recent past because the number of days for which the parliament meets has come down, the number of bills which are being enacted by the parliament has come down, the quality of the debate has also come down. So in this background, MN Venkatachalaya Commission has said Rajya Sabha shall meet at least for 100 days in a year, and Lok Sabha shall meet for at least 120 days in a year. For at least 120 days in a year. Rajya Sabha shall meet at least for 100 days in a year. Lok Sabha shall meet for at least 120 days in a year. In addition to this, with respect to anti-defection law, MN Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended, as of now, individual defections are not allowed, group defections are permitted. So 2/3 split is permitted. But MN Venkatachalaya Commission says defection is unethical. Both group defections as well as individual defections must be banned, and the individuals who defect shall be disqualified for contesting to the public office for the remainder of the house. And this is a very good recommendation, but unfortunately not fully implemented. In addition to this, you know that the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they have got independent secretariats, Under Article 98 Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution, under Article 98 Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution, Parliament can make a law regulating the service conditions of the employees working in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha secretariats. This is not yet done so far. So, M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended that the Parliament shall make a law under Article 98 Clause 2 for regulating the service conditions of the employees working in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha secretariats. In addition to this, it has also recommended that the secretariats for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha shall be made much more independent to improve the efficiency in the working of these secretariats. To improve the efficiency in the working of these secretariats. The other recommendations of M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission include the first one. Nowadays, in the recent past, several bills which are introduced in the Parliament, they are not referred to the department related parliamentary standing committees. This is a very bad precedent, because all the bills which are introduced in the Parliament, if they are referred to the parliamentary standing committees, if there are any gaps in the bill, they can be addressed by the recommendations made by the department related parliamentary standing committees. Usually, the department related parliamentary standing committees, they make wider consultations with the larger public, the government departments and ministries, and even the expert opinion outside the government. In the light of these consultations, suitable recommendations are made to improve the bill. But unfortunately, after Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister, this practice of referring the bills to the parliamentary standing committees has come down. But here the recommendation of the M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission is, if there is any disagreement between the recommendations made by a parliamentary standing committee and the government, it must be discussed in the Parliament. It must be subjected to debate in the Parliament. This is one important recommendation which has got a lot of meaning and sense. In addition to this, the treaty making powers of the Union Government. Article 253. Under Article 253, the Union Government can enter into an international agreement with any other nation state. The Union Government has the power to enter into international treaties. For example, in 2008, India has entered into a deal with United States of America, which is called Indo-US Nuclear Deal. So here M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission has recommended that treaty making powers of the Union Government must be regulated by Indian Parliament. A similar recommendation was also made by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. A similar recommendation was also made by M.M. Poonchi Commission. So 2007 to 10, we had a commission on the center-state relations, the second commission. The second commission on center-state relations is called M.M. Poonchi Commission. It is not only M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission, even M.M. Poonchi Commission has also recommended that the treaty making powers of the Union Government shall not be left unregulated. They must be subjected to regulation by the Indian Parliament by enacting a law. So these were some of the important recommendations made by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission for arresting the decline of the parliamentary institutions in this country and to further strengthen parliamentary institutions in this country. So that's it in this video. Thank you.